Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode here in my channel. I am Erica. I am an expat here in Maldives for almost 4 years. I am a Filipina, so I am an OFW. And I've started my vlog and my blog because when I was still a newbie OFW, I didn't have much resources, and I've thought that perhaps I can do something, to help the next newbies in Maldives, or like the next newbie OFWs. I'm not that old, okay? But yeah, I have the experience already, and not naman expertise, but well, it comes with experience. Anyway, for this series, this episode, I am going to start a wedding planning series because this is also something that I haven't noticed that a lot are doing, or there are not much resources for expats and OFWs who are currently abroad but want to plan their wedding and want to, have their wedding in the Philippines someday. So yeah, let's get started. So for today's episode, we are going to talk about wedding budgets. So how much are you going to spend for your wedding? What's that noise? Okay, since that is the first thing that you would have to determine before you do all the coordinations and all the planning and all the hula baloos, so at first it was I think, but especially when we were engaged, this was the time that we were so overwhelmed and like, okay, we will have to have this in our wedding, we will have to have this in our wedding, and then when we add it all up, parang shucks, it's so expensive. So you would have to set a budget. And how much is that going to be? There is really no magic number on how much a wedding would cost, because you can get married for like 1,000 pesos, and you can still also get married for like 10 million pesos. So there's really no magic number. It really depends on what kind of wedding can you afford. And as OFWs, we would have to make sure that it's a wedding naman na we will not spend all our savings and all our hard-earned money, just for one day. So where do you start? For me and Emil, we started on determining when is our wedding going to be. So from the day that you decided you want to get married until the day of your wedding, that time frame is the time na you would have to save, you would have to earn money, and you would have to do all possible income generating activities so you'll be able to afford the wedding that you want to have. Let's say from now until your wedding day, you have 24 months. And in 24 months, each month, how much are you willing to take from your income or to get from your salary to put into your wedding fund? So for us, parang we've decided, since we're going to split half-seas on the wedding costs, we've decided na okay, every month I'm going to set aside this money from my salary. You will set aside what money you can afford to set aside from your salary. We will combine them at the end of 24 months. This is our target money. So that money that we forecast that we will have after 24 months is going to be our budget. In this way, we are still making sure that we are living our lives, we are paying our bills, we are paying our dues and responsibilities. At the same time, we know that this is the kind of wedding we can afford because this is what we took from like our monthly income, and we can make sure na though we will not overspend on the wedding, and we will not get overwhelmed with all the other things or details, or like set na ang mind na after 24 months, this is our money, and we have to make sure that the wedding that we will have will be okay with this amount of money. Hope I'm making sense. the second thing that you need to do after you determined your wedding date and you determined how much money will you have after saving from now till your wedding day, the next thing that you would have to do is to do your research. Because in the Philippines naman, every city or every province, like, it costs different. I mean, you know, mas mahal sa city or mas mahal sa probinsya to get married. So you would have to do your research on how much does it usually cost to get married in, like, your hometown or where you want to get married in. So for example, for me, let's say if I want to get married in our hometown, I would have to do my research now. How much will catering cost, or how much will this cost, or how much will that cost? So I would have to itemize and specify all those things para I can check na, oh, is a provincial wedding something that you can afford, or is a city wedding better, or is it something that we can afford? Because you will have to also think of transportation for your family in case, like, it's a destination wedding, or it's going to be done in, you know, like, in another place or not the place of your partner. So of course your partner's family would have to bring in. So yun, you would have to make sure that you do your research, you itemize on every little detail, like the catering, the venue, the church, the dress, the cocktails, and the drinks. Like, one of the priorities talaga. Like, you will know what are my priorities depending on the list that I'm saying. So yeah, all those things, videographer, photographer, whatever, souvenirs, whatever, you would have to itemize everything. And where I got so much help in itemizing is when I had a coordinator, because she's very expert now on the things and the items and the specifications that I need to have for my wedding. So it's all been listed already. So okay, Erica, this is the cost, or this is the usual, you know, this is the estimate for this. So yun, I've already added up everything and compared it to our, like, forecasted savings, and like, oh, okay, pasok pala, or oh, medyo over sa budget na. So there are some things that we have to, you know, let go of, or we would have to find alternatives and cheaper alternatives. So yeah, that's it. And the third thing is that aside from your wedding budget, since we are OFWs, of course, we would have to go home earlier, no? Or because we will have to do some planning, and we would have to spend time with our families, and we would have to stay longer in the Philippines. So we would have to think of the pre-wedding and the post-wedding expenses. So let's not just focus on the wedding, let's not just focus on, like, okay, like the wedding day, but we'll have to think also of the days leading to the wedding, like transportation, or since that's also your annual leave, you haven't seen a lot of your friends or your family, so you would have to meet them, and, you know, coffee or groceries sa bahay, all those things, like, that you usually do, that we OFWs usually do when we go home, we would have to take it into consideration. So let's say, okay, I'm gonna go home with like 500,000 pesos in my pocket because this is our wedding budget. But if the 500,000 is all for your wedding, what's gonna happen to you, like, the days leading to your wedding and the days after your wedding? So you would have to think of that too. So you better na babaan mo yung wedding budget mo. Or, you know, you should have extra money with you. To be honest, there's so much more that I can add here, but since I'm also in the planning process, those are the things that really helped me. I think basically it boils down to being smart with your money and forecasting everything and making sure na you will spend only what you can afford. So OFW brides, wag masyadong magpa-overwhelm sa, you know, nakikita niyo sa Pinterest. Just think of something of the wedding that you know you will be happy and you can be proud of. At the same time na hindi ka din naman mamumulubi and hindi masasayang yung pinag-ipunan mo abroad, so that you can use that money, you know, to be with your partner and for the life that you will have after, which is the more important thing other than the wedding day. So good luck with your planning, guys, and I will see you again on my next video. I hope I was able to give you some insightful tips about planning. I mean, not just planning, but about your wedding budget. Okay, bye! See you!